Welcome back to Carneades.org. Today we're going to be looking at video 101, continuing our series on Doubting, I Think, Therefore I Am, Cogito, Ergo Sum by Rene Descartes. If you haven't checked out the previous video where we doubt the full argument, or specifically the therefore part, the thought implies existence part, you might want to check that out now. But if you're up to date, follow me and let's get started. So in this video, we're going to be doubting the I think part of the argument. This is possibly the most difficult part of the argument to doubt, so I apologize if this argument gets a little confusing. But in this video, I'm going to be providing one of the arguments that by many philosophers is considered to be the most convincing argument against this claim. So let's take a look. Imagine that you sitting around in your daily life, and whenever you have sensation X, you form the belief I am in pain. Whenever you have sensation Y, you form the belief I am being tickled. Generally, you form the belief I am in pain if and only if you experience sensation X, and you form the belief I am being tickled if and only if you experience sensation Y. So, every day you go through and you experience sensation X, you form the belief you're in pain, sensation Y, you form the belief you're being tickled, and so on and so forth. This goes on in your daily life. Basically, whenever you feel pain. The only time you feel pain is when you feel sensation X, and the only time you form the belief you're being tickled is when you feel sensation Y. But then one day, you experience sensation X, but form the belief that you're being tickled. Or perhaps you experience sensation Y and form the belief that you're in pain. But then after that specific instance, you go back to the normal way of X equals pain, Y forms the belief of being tickled. It seems that we would say, if one day you experience sensation X, but form the belief I am being tickled, we would say that you are mistaken. You're not in fact being tickled, but you're in fact in pain. You just made a mistake about what belief to form. This may seem a little off point for the topic of knowledge, but we're going to bring it back next. So, now imagine that you, sitting around in your daily life, whenever you have sensation Z, you form the belief, I am thinking. And whenever you have sensation Y, you form the belief, I'm being tickled. So, you form the belief, I'm thinking, if and only if you experience sensation Z, generally. And generally, you form the belief, I'm being tickled, if and only if you experience sensation Y. So, once again, whenever you experience Z, you form the belief that you're thinking, and whenever you experience Y, you form the belief you're being tickled. But then one day, of course, you experience sensation Z, and you form the belief that you're being tickled. Or, more importantly, you experience sensation Y, which we would generally consider to be a tickle, and you form the belief that you're thinking. And then we go back to the normal way that things work. It seems that if one day you experience sensation Y, but formed the belief, I am thinking, we would say that you were in fact mistaken. You were not thinking, you were in fact being tickled, because that seems to be what sensation Y is, based on your experience. So what I just said was, if one day you experience sensation Y but form the belief, I am thinking, we would say that you were mistaken and in fact being tickled. There's a pretty clear objection to this, but it's an objection that we can refute, so I'm going to offer it. The objection is that, so let's say you do experience sensation Y and you form the belief, I am thinking. You may be mistaken in thinking that sensation Y means that you are thinking, but that does not mean that you are not in fact thinking. You formed the belief, I am thinking, so you must be thinking. You have sensation Y. You form the belief that you are thinking. And in forming this belief, you are in fact thinking. Therefore, you can know that you are thinking. This seems like a powerful objection, but it should be pretty clear where we can object to it. The problem is in how we get to the knowing that you're thinking. We can't know that we're thinking based on a false or a problematic sensation, a sensation that actually means something else. I can't know that I'm thinking based on the fact that someone's tickling my foot. That's a problem. The chain of justification for this belief that I know I'm thinking seems to be messed up. It seems to be flawed. It seems to be problematic. This is kind of an instance of the Gettier problem, if you haven't checked that out. And it's also just an instance of bad justification for a belief. If that didn't make sense, I'm going to offer a couple of examples that hopefully will make it a bit clearer. So, imagine that you enter such a state that you are constantly in sensation X, which generally makes you think that you're in pain. But you do not yet form the belief, I'm in pain. You then experience sensation Y. And because of this, you form the belief that you are in pain. Can we really say that we know you're in pain? Can we say that you know you're in pain just based on the fact that someone tickled you? The problem seems to be that your belief doesn't have the right kind of connection to your state. You seem to have just gotten lucky with your belief that you are in pain. It seems to be poorly justified. It seems to be justified on the fact that you got tickled. And generally, you're a really bad determiner at whether or not you're in pain. So it doesn't really make sense to say that you know you're in pain. Sure, it's true that you're in pain, but your justification is really bad. You said, yeah, of course I'm in pain, because I just got tickled. You seem to have a problem, a cognitive disconnect with the sensation and the feeling of pain. To bring this around to thought, imagine that you enter a state such that you are constantly in sensation Z, which generally makes you think that you are thinking. But you do not form the belief, I am thinking. But then you experience sensation Y. And because of sensation Y, you form the belief that you are thinking. Can we really say that you know you're thinking? Once again, our chain of justification seems to have gotten messed up somewhere. It seems that because I formed the belief I'm thinking based on the fact I was getting tickled, I don't seem to have really good justification for believing that I'm thinking. Or at least even if I have personal good justification, it falls into the trap of the Gettier problem that yes, it's true. Yes, I have justification, but my justification isn't the reason that it is the case, or there's some problem in our reasoning. The point is that you are a really bad judge in this case of whether or not you're thinking. And it may seem to you that when you're being tickled, you're being presented with a rational argument for why you're thinking, such as the one offered in the objection before. But what's in fact happening is you're just getting tickled and mistaking that for a rational argument and ending up with the belief that you're thinking. It is the case that you're thinking, but the reason you formed that belief isn't because of a rational argument, and it isn't because of good justification. It's because you are being tickled. Now, if I haven't pressed that point home enough, though you may in fact be thinking when you are doubting that you are thinking, it might not be the thinking that caused your belief that you are thinking. Even if you believe that a rational argument convinced you that you were thinking, you might be deceived and merely be being tickled. And that tickling caused that belief. So that belief can't rise to the level of knowledge. Therefore, you can doubt that you are doubting. That was doubting the I think part of I think therefore I am. In the last video, we're going to take a look at doubting existence, doubting I am. If you haven't checked out my videos on personal identity, those are going to be pretty important for this final video. Watch this video and more at Carneades.org, and stay skeptical, everybody.